Hey guys, it's Eric with the Miller Park Minute, where we're throwing strikes, getting likes, hitting dingers, getting listeners back again. This is your only daily Brewers podcast. Yes, we upload every day at 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We go live on Saturday nights. We are located everywhere you can find a podcast: YouTube, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Castbox, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and of course Apple. That being said, if you want to support the cause, you can go over to go over to SeatGeek and use the code Miller Park Minute and save yourself $20 off some tickets on a first-time purchase basis. If you want to support the cause in another way, you can go over to patreon.com/Miller Park Minute. All right, back to today's episode. So we're on the cusp here. The Super Bowl's finishing up and baseball's about to start. I think we've seen that meme about a dozen times for any baseball fan. The WBC is going to be underway here in a few days. They released all the caps. They released the rosters. It's time to pump up. We're seeing players golfing on spring training. It's Brandon Woodruff's birthday as of, Friday, so yesterday. Lots of cool stuff going on. We are just getting into the heat of this season. The baseball season is finally upon us. So that being said, we're going to Adam McCalvy again today. Our guy, Adam McCalvy, always got the stories. He's really one of the only consistent posters because he is the Brewers beat writer, and that's his job specifically. But today he's talking, and I think I like this, that he kind of put this out here. So Adam McCalvy posted 3 storylines to watch this spring training. And this is, every year we have stories and things that we need to follow, and once I get into these, you'll understand what I'm saying. But they're things that need to happen. And that's really the storyline of spring training. What we need to have and what we need to see, who needs to step up and who's going to be where, and what position is everybody going to play? What role is everyone going to play? So that being said, first figure out the bullpen. 7 pitchers logged more than 30 relief innings for the Brewers last season. 4 of those relievers, innings leader Brent Suter, appearance leader Brad Boxberger, Trevor Gott, and Josh Hader are gone, indicating a significant turnover. This is actually, I think, one of the biggest turnovers we've had in the history of the last few years. I don't think we've turned over this many relievers and had this many go in a long time. So closer Devin Williams is locked in. Returnees Hobie Milner and Peter Strzelecki are coming off of what can be characterized as breakthrough years. Matt Bush is back after a shaky final 2 months with the Brewers and is out of minor league options. After that, the new arms like Bryce Wilson, Javi Guerra, Joel Pamps also are all out of options. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with those. We've got another player that just came back today that I'll talk about in a few minutes. The Brewers will have to evaluate right-handers Jason Junk and Elvis Perguo, acquired from the Angels in the Hunter Renfroe trade, and prospects Abner Uribe and Cam Robinson, all of who could pick up bullpen innings sometime in 2023. There's also Rule 5 draft pick Gus Varlin, and a group of non-registered invitees, including Alex Claudio and a bunch of other guys as well. So it's definitely an area in spring games where we have the most to learn, even pitching coaches and bullpens. Definitely the area with the most to learn, Brewers manager said. The starters are a familiar group, especially with Wade Miley being familiar. We have to make some serious decisions on the bullpen. One name that is not expected in either group at the very start is left-hander Aaron Ashby due to his shoulder fatigue issues. I think he's out for opening day. Council said it's a remnant from last year that kind of manifested itself as he ramped up throwing again. We had to take a big step back as far as rest goes. And so, excuse me. Still fighting off a little bit of sickness here. Next on this list is assess the positional prospects. So basically, we're figuring this thing out all the way around. In the early years, Craig Counsell's tenure as skipper, young pitcher prospects were the story. Now, for the first time under Counsell, it's tilted towards hitters such as outfielders Garrett Mitchell, Sal Frelick, and Joey Weimer, as well as infielder Bryce Turing, all of whom will be in camp with a real shot to impact the big league club, even if some of them start off with the Triple-A Nashville. Generally, when a team brings high-ceiling prospects to the majors like the Brewers did with Mitchell last year, it is intent to have them play every day or close to it. Mitchell has clear lane to do that from the start of 2023, probably followed by Turing, Frelick, Weimer in that order, but all have a chance to play for the Brewers by year's end. And this one, I don't see as a bad thing. It's getting guys a competitive level of play right away. And we've talked about this already. These are all storylines that we've continued to talk about. So, I mean, it makes sense that these are the, excuse me, the hot storylines. New rules and the World Baseball Classic. The two fit together because they are unique aspects in a first normal spring training in years. So this is our first spring training that we've actually had a normal one. Last year we had to deal with the lockout and the CBA and everything like that. So Counsell had a call with the coaches finalizing plans to introduce the new rules for 2023, most notably a pitch timer, limits in field shifts. The Brewers have been readying for months and have a progression in mind to get everyone comfortable by opening day. Then they drop the list in again. I don't think we need to run. I've run this list back and forth for the WBC, but it says the WBC will impact players like Williams, Telez, Urias, Frelick. Those players will join their country's training camps during the first few weeks of March. Notably, the Brewers starting pitchers, who by nature of their jobs are always the tightest spring training schedule, are staying put. So none of the starters are actually going to go. In Devin's case, I'll say I'm really encouraged, said Counsell. I think Devin has had a great offseason. The World Baseball Classic, I think, really pushed his prep to a new level. I'm excited for him because of it, really. Coming off last year's lockout, all the pandemic adjustments before that, it's comforting for everyone to head into a regular spring training. There's plenty of time, said Counsell. You have to use that for everybody, from when we start guys playing to some of the teaching things we want to do. There are more time this year. Absolutely. And this gives everybody, I mean, on all levels, this gives everybody more prep, not just the guys who are going to be in camp every day, but the guys who are in the WBC and who are already taking at bats, getting game shape. Years ago, there was a thing with guys that would really use spring training to get, like in the beginning of the season, to get back into shape. Now that the game has become more of a high-paid thing, and you could hear anybody talk about this, broadcaster Rock talks about it constantly, spring training now is more like just seeing where everybody fits versus using it to get into game shape. And that's just the days of old versus the days of new with baseball. But these guys are already, worked out, into shape. They hit it hard. I mean, more and more nowadays, it's about the money and it's about the contracts and playing the game you love. So you got to stay in shape for it. And I think spring we're going to hammer out some things. We're going to get answers to these, and this is exactly why we've been talking about these things for weeks, and why Adam McKelvey is bringing all of this up. This is the stuff we need to figure out. That's not a big list, but it is a big list because your bullpen is the most important thing. You know, if your starter goes short, you need your bullpen to go long. Now, Ashby being out, that could open up a spot for somebody else to be that long relief guy. So we'll see kind of how all these storylines play out. We're very early in. I want to make another note. That article I referenced yesterday, I had some people question about Corbin Burnes and the Red Sox. That was actually like originally a fan article, but then I saw it was also posted by Sports Illustrated. So I'm like, is there any heat to that? Is there any reality? And then I looked at it and I'm like, no, I don't really think it is. But still interesting to hear. That was the first rumor tagged with Corbin Burnes on it, I guess. So this one is just kind of weird and strange all at the same time because we had already had him. Brewers re-signed John Singleton to a minor league deal. The Brewers have re-signed first baseman John Singleton to a minor league deal. The club informed reporters. He's back with the organization after being released last month. Receives a non-roster invite to spring training. Singleton hasn't played in the majors since 2015, his second season as a member of the Astros. At one time, top prospect, recipient of a $10 million extension before reaching the majors, Singleton struggled to get a 171, 293, 31 slash line through 114 big league games. He connected on 14 home runs with a massive 14.3 walk percentage, but struck out an unattendable 36% clip. So Singleton is back. The Singleton era ended shortly, but he is back. He was designated after they got Brian Anderson. So just to follow you up on that storyline, not that I'm really all too concerned about John Singleton, but it's news, so we got to cover it, right? Then we are going to go over to, and I'm going to spend some time on this because I like this one. I have my opinion, and maybe I'm going to state my opinion first, and then we'll go into what the article says. What constitutes success for the Milwaukee Brewers in 2023? From our friend Matthew Trueblood over at brewerfanatic.com. I screw that up all the time because I'm just using the Brewers. It's the Brewers. So it's a little thing. I got to talk to the guys over there and find out. I also got to put a video off this week. Oh, boy. So, yeah, it's been a busy week. Let's just put it that way in the life of Eric Agnew. So what constitutes success in 2023? I think number one, and I've said this already, so it's going to be a broken record, and I'm sorry, but I've said you need to extend your guys. I want to extend all the young guys. I've changed it. I've upped the game a little bit. I think we should keep Eric Lauer. I think we should keep Corbin Burnes, of course, Brandon Woodruff, Willie Adames, Freddie. If Freddie needs an extension, we should work that out too. Reason being, guys are getting paid massive numbers. It's a known fact in baseball that you can extend guys for cheaper than they would go for on the open market. This is our cheapest opportunity to get talent. Our cheapest, by far, bar none. Keep the talent we got. We already know them. You know what I mean? What's the chance that guys like this come around again? Cy Young winner, All-Stars. You know, I just, that's what I think. So retaining the talents is number one. Obviously, I'm going to say World Series because what's the point of the game to win a World Series? That's a successful baseball season is winning a World Series. You want your rookies to come up. You want them to have some level of success. Maybe see a Rookie of the Year. Somebody in contention for a Cy Young would be great. All-Stars would be great. I would measure those as levels of success. If the team has 5 All-Stars, that means we're having a good season. If we have 2 All-Stars, we're still having a good season. Those guys are just standing out more than the rest. And sustained winning. You know, we're playing new ball clubs. Well, not new ball clubs. We're playing different ball clubs and different levels, so to speak. You know, we're playing the whole league now. So it's a different level of game. And the game has changed. Literally, the game has changed. The rules have changed. The bases. So to successfully go into this season, I want to see success with the new rules, success with the pitcher, success extending some of these players, if not all, some. I still think it's a fail on Matt Arnold if he does not extend all, but that's just me. But that's the premises of what I think here. Devin Williams is 3 years away, according to this article. Eric Lauer is 2 years. That's why I mentioned Eric Lauer. Of course, a power resurgent season from Christian Yelich is something he mentions. Most importantly, though, especially the way teams prefer to operate, to see if Jackson Churio's development continues near at the same pace, sustainable. Even fallen, yeah, I don't think we'll see him, but give a firmer handle on Sal Frelick, Garrett Mitchell, Joey Weimer, and can they be long-term plans for the outfield? See where Luis Urias and Bryce Turing are on the infield. And I agree with that stuff. I mean, I obviously you want to find out. Those are things that we need to figure out in spring training. That's what we were just talking about. Actually, these both of these tie together. The interweave. So in spring training, you want to find out where your pieces fit, who's going to be your team, what's going to garner you the most success, and then who's the closest backups. Right. In the end of the day, that's what you want. You don't want to be figuring that out in season. If you're figuring that out in season, then you're not going to have as much success. I think that's simple baseball. And you're going to have to slot guys in and out throughout the year. That constantly happens and has happened for years. I mean, look what with Lorenzo Cain and everything that we had happen last season. I mean, that's fact of the matter, right? I'm willing to give a list of boxes that need to be checked for this year to be a success. Okay. Let's see how different him and I feel. The team should resolve uncertainty around at least 2. I said 3, so we're close. Woody, Adames, and Burns. Extensions are ideal, of course. Yeah, he's saying something about trades. Like I said, I'll live with trades. I'll cry, but I mean, that is what it is. And the outfield, medium term, future, if Tyrone Taylor has hoped for a breakout, terrific. Let's end the rhetoric right now that Churio is not going to be up in the majors. He's 18, 19 maybe at opening day. I don't even know, but Churio's not going to hit the majors, so let's not talk about him. He's going to spend some time. Plus, he's blocked by these 3. The other 3 don't, yeah. So yeah, let's worry about that first. I agree that Tyrone Taylor needs to. Basically, this is a shit or get off the pot moment with Tyrone Taylor. Either Tyrone Taylor shows up to play balls, plays really well, or he goes by the wayside, and then we use Weimer, Mitchell, or Frelick. And if everybody gets hurt, Jackson Churio, I guess. But I don't even want to see that. Another pitcher emerges with Aaron Ashby starting spring training behind with a mirage of questions and circle the top 4 starters of our staff. Team needs to enjoy another breakout performance like they've gotten from Woodruff, Burns, and Freddie. It's Freddie's year. It's Freddie's year, and Lauer in success over the last 4 seasons. Chris Hook has more than adequate replace Derek Johnson, which seems so improbable upon his departure, but he faces another tough test. Given what Hook does well, I would sooner bet on Robert Gasser or Jason Junk than Ethan Small to make the leap required, but all 3 candidates are candidates. So for that matter is Bryce Wilson, although his opportunities to prove himself as a starter for 2023 will be much more limited. The same goes for Gus Varland. Well, Gus Varland's got to have a spot. So that's kind of agree to disagree there. Gus Varland's got to have a spot. Ethan Small's going to get his opportunities. They're all going to. It comes down to, and again, this all ties back together. It comes down to where we said in the last article, we need to figure out where these pitchers are going to play. Who's going to be our long relief man? Is Small somebody we can use more in long relief? You know, can he start his career and do the Corbin Burns, Josh Hader, and what we've done with many pitchers in the past? Sometimes you convert a guy to a reliever. Is Ethan Small a candidate for that? Maybe. What about Bryce Wilson? Maybe. Robert Gasser? I don't expect to see him, but just because a lot of these guys are out of options in major league level, and Gus Varland either plays or goes back to the Dodgers, and I think we'll at least sample him like we did with Wei Chang Wang. The team has to make the playoffs. This is a last but not least situation. I actually said that number 1. The number 1 in World Series of bust. If ever there was one, all 4 of these criteria are criteria to me necessary, but none of them is sufficient without the rest. I mean, I agree with the guy. I do. I'm not saying I don't. Maybe a couple disagreements on Churio and stuff like that, but that's my disagreement with like the world, I think, at this juncture, because the world thinks, oh, we're going to see Jackson Churio. No, they said we were going to see Bryce Turing forever, and we still might not see Bryce Turing. The Brewers like to keep guys down there and under control and have a sure thing when they bring them up, and then it doesn't work out, like Keston Hiura. I mean, I think what I would love to see, I'm going to add this now, reading both these articles in combination and just kind of figuring out where my brain is rattling around, because I like to do that. I'd like to see him cut the fat. If the guy's not working out, let's get rid of him. Not Christian Yelich. We can't. Just not in the cards yet. And he'll play good. Christian Yelich will come back and play well. I'm confident in that. What I'm not confident in is a Tyrone Taylor having a breakout season. I'm not confident in Keston Hiura getting the bat back and figuring out what position he can even play, because he hasn't really been successful at many of them. So that's just my shot. That's my shot. That's what I have to say. Now we're going to move to the major leagues. That's all I'm covering on that. So we're going to cover Major League, what happened around Major League Baseball today. Christian Javier signed an extension, and I believe it was a 5-year extension. The Astros did not disclose the terms of the deal, but a source told MLB.com that Javier will receive $64 million in contract. They'll take him through 2027. He signed a $10,000 bonus. International signing 2015. 25-year-old righty. So basically, this buys out arbitration for him. See, that's a big extension. And then the Dodgers made a signing today. David Peralta. So he's an outfielder. Kind of just like an extra piece for them. That Dodgers are a super loaded team. So they just added him as well today. I think that's just a filling in the gaps kind of thing. And just so you know, I'm looking at all these articles as a whole. I mean, there is not much for Major League Baseball news as a whole. And I think a lot of that surrounds the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl's right in Arizona, right where these guys are. Radio Row's going on. You've got live podcasts, but nobody's talking about baseball. So that's where we come short on really any kind of good content. That's where I've just been struggling making things up as I go on the fly this week. I hope next week we'll have some more thorough content, some more deep dives. I didn't get to this today. I was busy shoveling snow. As you know, we got a lot of snow here in south central, southeastern part of Wisconsin. So I was unbared from ice and snow and the whole nine. That's really all I got. We do got a special couple guests coming up next week. So Thursday, probably, by all recollection, if they're recording on Monday. And then we got the Butcher. And I don't remember if we talked about a topic yet. So, Butcher, we got to talk about a topic. All right, guys, that's all I got for you this evening. Remember to check out all the different sources. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. This is your only Brewers Daily Podcast, the Miller Park Minute, 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Every day is when we upload our YouTube video, our podcast. It's there everywhere. Apple, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Amazon, Castbox, Google, and Spotify. And of course, here on YouTube is where the videos lie. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Go Brewers. We'll see you in the next episode. Tomorrow night live, 4:30. Hi, buddy.
Hi. I want to say hi.
You just did.
Am I in?
Thank you for watching the Miller Park Minute. Go Brewers.